This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Your hands and go, go, go. Shout, I'm alive and I know that something good is gonna happen when I let go of my fears and never ever look back again. Can you feel the sun? Can you see it through the blue, blue sky? Freedom's calling your name. Freedom's calling your name. Clap your hands and go, go.
The following program is rated MA-LSV and contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Yeah, if the button is flashing, don't hit it. If the button is flashing, don't hit it. If you're on the video, you definitely got what I meant by that. Anyways, let's start talking. How are you? Hopefully everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods as we are hanging out on this lovely Whip 'em Out Wednesday, which is, let's see, Wednesday, August the 26th of 2026, and we are hanging out doing all the fun stuff that we get to do, no doubt about that. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and family. Friends and family. Yeah, this is what we're hanging out with now over there.
Freeform radio never sounded this great. Or has it? Radio big.
Oh, yes. Hanging out with those friends and colleagues will definitely make you start thinking about all kinds of interesting stuff. That is for sure. So let's start talking right away about some things that are going on inside of this world, because that's just kind of what we do. So our show consists of safety in the news and safety. That's just kind of what we do around here. We talk a little bit about this, we talk a little bit about that, and then we kind of move forward inside of the multiverse of ours. So if you're good with that, that's cool, because I do appreciate it. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring in some broadcasters. They're going to talk about what the hell's going on inside of the world of the multiverse, and then we're going to move forward. And then as we move forward, we will open up the phone lines, or the request lines, as we like to say. And all you have to do is go to callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging are the options of the things that you can do if you're interested in doing any of that. And then we'll kind of go through the whole rig of everything that's kind of going on, and then we move forward. That is it. So audio, video, text messaging by going to callinradio.com, and then we'll get you kind of all settled in from that particular standpoint. So if you're good with this, I can bring in my friends from Feature Story News. They will tell you what exactly is going on, and then we will move forward with everything that's supposed to be going on as we are hearing everything in real time. I kind of just give you everything that we got as we do move forward. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the news right now. No, like seriously, let's get into it right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in New Delhi, I'm Ishan Garg. India and China have concluded their 25th round of border talks in Beijing, with both sides agreeing to continue dialogue and seek a mutually acceptable boundary settlement. The discussions between India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi on Tuesday came ahead of a possible visit by Chinese President Xi Jinping to New Delhi for the BRICS summit in September, which would be his first trip to the Indian capital in 7 years. The two countries' relations have been strained since a deadly clash between their troops in the Galwan Valley in 2020. From New Delhi, Neha Punia reports.
What's important is this meeting is coming ahead of a possible visit to New Delhi by President Xi. There's some reporting that he could come with a 400-member-strong delegation to attend the BRICS summit. If he does come, this would be his first visit to New Delhi in 7 years. He's not come since the 2020 Galwan clash really saw ties hit the roughest patch they have in several decades. And it would be a huge feather in India's cap as it holds its biggest marquee event in its diplomatic calendar.
Canada on Tuesday announced retaliatory tariffs on more than 700 American products, doubling duties on steel and aluminium to 50% and imposing new levies on electronics, dairy and clothing. The move came after trade talks collapsed late on Friday, prompting Washington to impose 50% tariffs on roughly $20 billion worth of Canadian goods. US President Donald Trump has responded with a barrage of personal attacks on Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney and has floated renaming Lake Ontario. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
Clearly, I think the level of the insults he was levelling against Canada today does suggest that this has rattled him somewhat. He said he was threatening to change the name of Lake Ontario to Lake America, similarly to how he changed the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And he even posted a graphic of that on his social media, crossing out Ontario and writing America in golden letters.
Pakistan says significant progress has been made in efforts to end the war between the United States and Iran after the country's army chief and interior minister held a day of talks in Tehran on Monday. The 60-day peace framework set out in the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding signed in June by Pakistan, Iran and the US lapsed in mid-August without renewal, with Tehran saying Washington had failed to meet its conditions. Pakistan is now pushing to bring both sides back to the negotiating table. Hira Mustafa reports from Islamabad.
Taking to the social media platform X, the country's Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi, who was part of the Pakistani delegation and who travelled with the country's Chief of Defence Forces on Monday to Tehran, has stated that significant progress has made with regards to Iran-US talks.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, huge questions continue to be posed about Operation Economic Outcast, the Trump administration's new sanctions on Iran that it says amount to an economic D-Day against the country. They come months after President Donald Trump publicly declared not only the Iranian military obliterated, but the country's economy on its knees. And yet, 6 months into an unresolved war, he is suddenly returning to a maximum pressure campaign against the Iranian economy. Nagar Mortazavi is an Iranian-American journalist and hosts the Iran podcast.
That whole sort of announcement of a D-Day, which is very much reference to a big global war, that, following a war, an actual war that has been launched and has failed to achieve any of its stated goals, it just does really seem like the nothing burger is a good description. I mean, is this going to put more economic pressure on Iran? Possibly. And who will pay the price for that? Ordinary Iranians. But will this bring the sort of surrender or capitulation, any policy change in Iran? I don't think so. As U.S. sanctions over the decades have not done that.
Unveiling the sanctions package on Monday, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent made no mention of China, Iran's largest trading partner. It would need to cooperate or itself be sanctioned for the new American initiative to have any impact. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
And the main news again. India and China have concluded their 25th round of border talks in Beijing, with both sides agreeing to continue dialogue and seek a mutually acceptable boundary settlement. Canada on Tuesday announced retaliatory tariffs on more than 700 American products. Pakistan says significant progress has been made in efforts to end the war between the United States and Iran after the country's army chief and interior minister held a day of talks in Tehran on Monday. There's more from us on Twitter at Feature Story. And that is the latest Feature Story news.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion. The book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month, and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
They're good. They're very funny.
They're hilarious. They just be whoever they want to be.
It's just really funny.
Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes, Rated R Safety Show. We get to be whatever we want to be. So that's all I have to say. What a fun time. Anyways, I have to tell you, sometimes when we're on ad break, because that's really what it boils down to, some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes is kind of mesmerizing, but we can talk about that later. Anyways, a lot of stuff going on inside of the multiverse. That's just kind of the way that it goes in regards of the stuff that is going on. So let's start talking right away about some of the stuff that is happening outside of the world there. Because I mean, it's just some interesting times. So I'm gonna tell you, because we are on a video format currently, we're gonna talk about this. We will not be playing any music during this part, even though I think that we're doing the person an injustice by not doing so. But we have to go by certain guidelines, is the way that it works. So let's talk about this. Dolly Parton has died at the age of 80. The news just came just 4 days after she had shared when she was dealing with some health issues, but insisted that she was still healing, still working, and had so many things that she wanted to achieve. From her humble beginnings in rural Tennessee, Dolly Parton became one of the biggest and most beloved entertainers in the world. The classics including Jolene, 9 to 5, Coat of Many Colors, and I Will Always Love You. Her career stretched far beyond music, and with memorable roles in 9 to 5 and Still Magnolias and her Dollywood theme park. And her imagination library, which has helped put books into hands of countless children. Parton was also known for her generosity, quick wit, unmistakable style, and ability to make just about everybody feel like they knew her personally. Her nephew said that she had spent her life opening doors for others and wanted her legacy to continue doing the same. Dolly was preceded in death by her husband of nearly 60 years, Carl Dean, who died in 2025. So here's her nephew making the announcement.
Hey everyone, my name is Brian Seaver, son of Cassie Parton, and I'm representing the Parton and Owens family today, announcing the passing of my Aunt Dolly Rebecca Parton Dean, sister, sis, Aunt Granny to one generation, and Gigi to the next. This video announcement is something Dolly asked of me years ago, before I fully absorbed it as a future reality. As her head of security for more than 2 decades, a role my father Larry held before me, I have imagined the heaviness of this moment, but haven't truly felt it until now. It is an honor that is mixed with absolute pride and great sadness. But sadness lies with us, not with Dolly. Dolly has lived in the light and is in the arms of Jesus, surely met by Carl, her parents, and countless others who have watched her and longed for her to meet them in the heavens. Dolly was a farmer, just like her daddy. He farmed the soil, she farmed songs and happiness. Dolly called me and said she wants to rest in a beautiful bed of plush cotton because after a life wearing heavy rhinestones, she finally deserves to be comfortable and have some rest. Rest in peace, Aunt Dolly, Aunt Granny, Gigi. May God bless Dolly Parton, and may God bless you all. She will always love you.
So there you go. That was a rough announcement yesterday going on in regards to that. It's one of those things that you kind of listen to it and it's not like it's unexpected, but you hear it and you're kind of shocked in regards to some of the stuff that's going on. So that's for sure. So terrible news in regards to that. So let's just do one more real quick. There's all kinds of clips of people pouring out their heart in regards of it. Let's give you one more here. Film. Let's see which one we're gonna do. You just take a listen to this clip. It was actually from the co-chief content officer from Billboard. His name's Jason. Take a listen to what he had to say when he was on CNN.
You also just have to think about there are just not that many superstars with a seeming 100% approval rating, in these kind of fractured cultural times where you have to kind of pick a side on everybody. Everybody just seemed to love Dolly Parton and her music and her personality. And also her contributions to society as a whole. When you think about the Dollywood Foundation, you think about the Imagination Library, 300 million books or so donated, helping kids to read. The impact on the LGBTQ plus community that she always stood by for decades. Yeah, I think aside from all of the awards, all the hit singles, all of the hit albums, you just think about how charming and beguiling she was as a celebrity.
So a lot of stuff, a lot of words in regards to people speaking in regards of what has happened, which I entirely understand. What I always find that's amazing, and this is just kind of my point of view here. Not that really anybody asked for it, but I'm going to say it anyways. You are aware that a few years ago, she got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She essentially said that she really didn't want the induction because she had never done a rock album. So in return, what did she do? She went out there and made a rock album to, I guess, to some way look at it from the standpoint of justifying what exactly what's going on. So, I mean, I get it. That's for sure. So interesting times just in regards to what's going on. No doubt about that. Okay, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world, of course. Andrew and Tristan Tate, Miami's court case has blown up their entire ultra-rich Playboy persona, revealing that the brothers' most famous displays of wealth, the $50 million super yacht, the $14 million super luxury car lineup, and even Andrew's boast about having 8 passports were all fabricated for social media clout. A newly filed court documents, their lawyers admit that the brothers' online flexing was a theatrical and promotional designed to generate views, not proof of real wealth. The flashy cars, including $2.1 million Aston Martin and 2 Bugattis worth $12 million were rented props, and the super yacht they flaunted does not belong to the Tates. They were simply paid to promote it. The disclosures were made to argue that the brothers aren't wealthy enough to be a flight risk, as they flight extradition to the UK, where Andrew faces dozens of charges, including rape, human trafficking, assault, and 19 counts, including of child pornography. Tristan faces charges of sexual assault, rape, and sex trafficking. Both men are arrested in Miami on July the 18th and remain in federal custody while also being investigated in Romania for human trafficking, rape, and forming an organizational criminal group and money laundering. So there you go. So let me make sure that I understand this. This is about them flexing about stuff that is not real, or part of it that's not real, in regards of the things that they had. And this is where you have to kind of really be kind of scared about some of the stuff that you see on social media. And I'm not picking here, and I'm not saying social media is good. I'm not saying that social media is bad, but I look at it from the standpoint that, man, it gets weird right away when people start believing the hype of what happens on social media. No life is perfect, and I don't say that to be a jackass here. I'm just saying that let's be realistic. Some of these people that they're looking to have these lives and some of these great things that they're attempting to do, it's not realistic. I remember during right after COVID in particular, there was rooms that were available for rent where you could make a video that it made it look like you were on a plane, your own private plane, and people were paying up to $600 an hour to be able to show that they were doing that. It's just so weird.
Duh.
On what are you trying to accomplish with that? But I mean, I guess everybody has to do their own thing. So let's continue talking about some other things. The Trump administration is warning that the Kennedy Center would eventually have been demolished if it isn't allowed to move forward with major renovations and a plan to restore President Trump's name to the building. In a new court filing, Justice Department lawyers described Kennedy Center as structurally unsound, unsafe, and embarrassing to the nation's capital, arguing that without the extensive restoration and the building could deteriorate to the point where it would have to come down. One possible replacement that has been floated is a large outdoor amphitheater overlooking part of the area. The legal fight comes after the judge and later an appeals court ordered the President Trump name to be removed from the Kennedy Center facade and the related materials. The Trump appointed board voted earlier this month to put back the name, proposing that rather than the lengthy title, the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts and restored and renovated by President Donald J. Trump, trying to fit fitting to pay that bill. The administration argues that recognizing President Trump's role is crucial to attracting donors and funding for the building restoration, pointing that $258 million in congressional funding and a new donor base. Representative Joyce Betty, who is suing the bloc, the renaming, is also trying to stop the administration from closing the center during the legal battle. A court hearing on the proposed name change and closure is scheduled for tomorrow. I mean, let's just kind of get this because I want to make sure that I understand this. You want to name this building the John F. Kennedy Center for Performing Arts, restored and renovated by President Donald J. Trump. Like, really? I mean, it's already kind of lengthy at the John F. Kennedy Center for Performing Arts. And now we're going to add this other stuff. I mean, I'm not picking. But that's just weird. I mean, at least in my opinion, it's weird. I don't know. What do you think about this? It gets kind of interesting. Because why do I have to have my name slapped on everything? But it's just kind of a weird aspect, but I guess that's what happens.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, take a listen to this. The Secret Service is investigating a disturbing video aired by Iranian state television that appears to solicit ideas about killing Baron Trump. The roughly 3-minute broadcast reportedly opens with an English phrase, "where to kill Baron Trump," and uses graphics to highlight locations of the 20-year-old publicly known to visit, including the Trump Tower in New York. The video also references a $10 million reward, making the threat even more alarming. The Secret Service says that it is aware of the video and is investigating anything perceived as a threat against people under the protection, though officials are discussing the details, or let me rephrase it, aren't discussing the details in regards of anything that's going on with that because of security reasons. A federal law enforcement source told CNN that the broadcast is part of a broader series of threats from Iranian outlets targeting President Trump's and members of his family, sometimes involving details about their movement and proposed attacks of the U.S. Officials have long warned about the possibility of Iranian retaliation against Trump and other over the vast tension between the two countries. What do you think here? I mean, it's pretty interesting. I'm just saying. It's just one of those things that I look at and I go, how weird is this in regards of doing that? I mean, you start talking about it and go, man, what a weird time as we are talking. So there you go. Let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Take a listen to this. A 16-year-old boy in India says that he spent most of the past 5 years living in a pond because of a mysterious condition that makes his skin feel like it's burning whenever he stays out of the water for too long. Despite the visits to the hospital and healers, his family says that no one has been able to diagnose the problems. Videos of the teen submerged up to the neck recently went viral, and some online commentators suggesting that he could have a rare condition that can cause intense burning and redness of the skin. His story eventually reached Anamat Abani, who reportedly arranged him to travel more than 1,300 miles to Mumbai, where doctors will try to finally figure out what's causing the painful symptoms. 5 years in a pond at this point, he got more waterfront property than most of us. I mean, that's kind of crazy when you start thinking about it. So there you go. Should we start talking about some really weird stuff? Let me kind of do a few of them before we get into our main story. So, some strange stuff happens all the time, but take a listen to this. A Wisconsin Maine Coon named Arabius Anomaly is officially the cat with the most toes in the world, 29 of them. That's 11 more toes than the typical house cat, and enough paws to make counting them a part-time job. The owners suspected they might have a record breaker from the moment that he was born. The Guinness World Records made it official. The previous record was 28 toes, meaning that Erebus beat the competition by one tiny, adorable little digit. Clearly, this cat believed that more is more, and apparently so does his feet. So there you go. Some things to think about. What a weird one, right? So there you go. Should I talk about this one? Yeah, let's talk about this one because it gets weird. A 72-year-old Arizona grandfather is facing an above-the-knee amputation after collapsing on a sidewalk during a brutal 120-degree heat. Family members say that Grant Siller suffered a heat stroke and a second and third degree burn after lying on the scorching pavement for about an hour before he was found. Siller was airlifted for burns into an ICU in Las Vegas, but doctors determined the damage to his right leg was too severe to save. His family is now raising money to help cover the massive medical costs come through the modifications and future prosthetics. The heartbreaking reminder that extreme heat and even a simple walk can turn dangerous in a matter of minutes. So there you go. I mean, that one's crazy. Because that means that he was essentially fell down, and I'm not picking here. He was cooking there. That's not a joke as I'm saying that. So there you go. So let's continue talking about some other stuff. A Glendale deli is providing that sometimes sticker shock that comes with extra cheese. Yord Moss Deli, or Bakery and Deli, viral $38 brisket Bartuma sandwich has been praised by the New York Times. A sandwich heaven and one that the country's standout meals, even as the price has caused plenty of people online to clutch their wallets. The chef says the massive, and it's loaded with premium ingredients, including Australian Wagyu beef, or brisket, better saying, organic bread, local dairies, Persian pickles, and house-made sauces. It takes a serious time and effort to prepare. Critics say that no sandwich is worth $38, but supporters point out that it's big enough to feed two people, and that clearly that the restaurant charges as much as the meals as far as less memorable. The tiny Glendale spot also refuses to do takeout because of Gregorian says that the food is meant to be eaten fresh, not steamed to death in a box on the ride home. There's no alcohol and no bathroom either. So apparently $38, the sandwich is a luxury experience, and a Trader Joe's handles the rest. So there you go. What a weird time. That's for sure. Anyways, with that being said, it is time to do our main story because that's just kind of what we do. No, like seriously, that's what we do. It's main story time. So let's go ahead and do that because why would we do anything else right now? That is for sure.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So let's talk about this because, man, what an interesting time in regards to some of the stuff that happens. What an interesting time in regards of workplaces. What an interesting time do we get to have by looking around and seeing the things that are happening inside of the multiverse. And I say this all to get to a certain point. I want you to think about this for a moment. And I want you to kind of give it some heed. I want you to kind of really narrow this down for a moment. Because things sometimes get extremely weird. Have you recently had something significant happen at work? And I'm talking about significant from an event perspective. I'm talking about anything you want. It can be an operational issue. It can be an HR issue. It can be the world famous safety issue. But what happens? All of a sudden, microscopes come out. Telescopes come out. There is now on everybody's radar of the things that are going on within the organization. There is everybody's radar of the things that need to be done. It's on everyone's radar that this is a priority piece because all of a sudden, boom, somebody has determined and pointed out that this is the next thing that is going to cause a cluster within the workplace. I mean, think about how often this works. Think about how, from the perspective that people are saying everything needs to change because X, Y, or Z occurred. Here's what I want you to think about today. And just give it a moment as we're talking. I don't know where you fall within that organization of yours. I don't know if you're upper management. I don't know if you're middle management. I don't know if you're just a team player. I don't know if you're somebody who's out in the field. I don't know if you consider yourself an employee. Some people don't want to be known as team players. That's fine. Some people just want to be there and do the work and leave. That's fine too. Here's what I'm going to ask you today, because it's kind of a weird thing that people don't do. And it's very interesting when I get to go into an organization and have this little chat and talk about it and ask one simple question. When was the last time you sat down and shut up and let your team tell you what's going on? Yeah, think about that for a moment. You are there as a team member, an employee, a middle management person, an upper management person, and all you did was sit there and shut up. The reason that I say this, and I know it can sound a little harsh, is that we do not give people the time to talk about what's going on within the organization. We are so wanting to fulfill all these other things, all this multitasking, all this stuff that needs to be implemented and done immediately. And we don't take that moment to sit down, shut up, hang on, and let the person in front of you tell you exactly what's going on. Here's the funny part about most organizations. The people that are already there within the system itself know more about what is going on within the organization than most upper management does, than most owners of the organization know, more than what most middle managers know. And I'm not picking on any of these positions. I'm just telling you the way that it goes. If we take these moments and say, do your thing, tell us what's going on, the world would be much different inside of your organization. I was reading a report over the last few days that this one organization wants a top-down approach in regards of solving the problems that they have within the organization. Top-down approach. I was blessed enough to discover years and years and years ago that if you take the approach of listening to your team members and kind of take it up the chain in regards of what needs to change, things will get much better for you. I will tell you that I was blessed enough to learn about this journey many, many, many moons ago. I want to say at least 20 years ago. Now, I'll tell you what the organization that I learned it from no longer exists. But it was an interesting concept. The only problem that they ran into was that they kind of came late to the game in regards of trying to introduce it. So that's the thing that I want to point out today. The next time that you're looking at your organization and you realize that there's problems that you cannot resolve, there's problems that you cannot change inside of the organization, do one thing. Sit there, shut up, and let the people that do the stuff in your organization tell you what's going on. I'm going to tell you, it is not world-changing, what I am telling you, but actually doing it becomes something entirely different. And that's where most people struggle with this. Imagine if you let the people talk to you about what's going on.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month.
and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
We're rocking all day at work because we don't give a duck. Autocorrect probably just saved my ass there.
Like I give a flying, you know.
Can you feel the sun? Can you see it through the blue, blue sky? Freedom's calling your name. Freedom's calling your name. Clap your hands and go, go, go.
Okay. Here we go, 45 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging out. Yeah, this right here is the Rated R Safety Show. Still streaming on safetyfm.com and radiobig.fm. And you can hear us across the multiverse of all the different streaming services. Or maybe you're listening on the podcast network. Or maybe on social media. Who the hell knows? Anyways, this right here, the song's called Never Look Back by SF Spectre. Songs readily available on Apple Music, YouTube Music, Spotify, and Pandora. Yeah, I'd recommend strongly giving a little streamer-eamer action. I would like to thank SF Spectre for allowing us to play this here. So there you go. There you go. So a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. No doubt about that as we are hanging out doing our thing. That is for sure. Anyways, with this being said, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime. And that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And we want you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to twloha.com. That's twloha.com. Once you get there, go to the section that says Find Help. And you're going to see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's twloha.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. Yep. Go there. It can change a lot of things for you. No doubt about that. So there you go. twloha.com. So a couple things to talk about real quick before I get too far into everything else. If you have not heard, our next in-person event will be taking place on February the 7th. Yep, February the 7th at the Global Innovation Safety. Yep, this time, other side of the planet, we'll be doing this in Australia. Yep, we'll be broadcasting from there. Would love to see you there. February the 7th through the 10th. No doubt there. No, seriously, this is not a joke as I say this. Definitely some things going on that side. I know a lot of people were kind of questioning about what we were doing for this year. We did a couple in-person events that were open to the general public, but they were kind of very specifically themed. Some people were asking if we were doing another Conklin conference this year. At this particular point, we will not be doing this one this year. We will be looking at 27. And I got some dates in the work, but nothing confirmed 100%. So until I have that, not really any need whatsoever to talk about it. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this? Why don't we go ahead and bring in some John Smalls? Let him tell us about what the hell's going on with the Motivation Minute, because it's always a good time when John's telling us about what's happening. So let's do that right now.
The Motivation Minute.
Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Randall. St. Augustine said, "Take care of your body as if you were going to live forever, and take care of your soul as if you were going to die tomorrow." I love this quote. I need to listen to this advice way more. Now, I've gotten much better recently, but at one point, about 10 years ago, I was over 350 pounds. I never really cared about the numbers, but the way that I felt was just not great. I'd get winded doing simple things, and I'd really struggle to go up a flight of stairs without issues. We made a decision back then that we needed to make some changes. I dropped 30 pounds right away, but then I would lose and gain the same 20 pounds over and over with every diet you could think of. Each one worked a little bit, but recently I've gotten out of the 300s and I plan to stay here.
The Motivation Minute.
This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Stocks on Wall Street fell as technology shares weakened, while investors watched developments involving Iran and awaited major corporate earnings reports.
The S&P 500 and Nasdaq moved lower as uncertainty pressured technology stocks. Traders were also weighing possible fallout from new sanctions and continuing disruptions affecting global energy supplies. Kyle Norris reporting.
Federal authorities charge 5 Houston postal workers in an alleged scheme involving millions of dollars in stolen checks.
Investigators say the scheme involved checks taken from the mail and fraudulently deposited or cashed. Prosecutors allege the total amount tied to the operation reached roughly $23 million. Kevin Sanders reporting.
A fast-moving wildfire near Reno expanded to about 13,000 acres, forcing tens of thousands of people to evacuate threatened neighborhoods.
Emergency officials ordered roughly 42,000 evacuations as crews battled the blaze under dangerous fire conditions. Authorities warned residents to remain prepared as changing weather could complicate efforts to contain it. Liam White reporting.
The United States unveiled a sweeping new economic pressure campaign against Iran, warning governments and businesses worldwide to cut ties with Tehran.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the measures could target countries helping sustain Iran's economy. Iran warned that expanded pressure would bring consequences, raising fears of further disruption across energy markets. Chris Anderson reporting.
A tanker was struck by an unidentified projectile in the Red Sea near Saudi Arabia, setting off a fire aboard the vessel.
British maritime officials said the crew was safe and no environmental damage was immediately reported. The attack highlighted growing dangers along an alternative shipping route used, while traffic through Hormuz remains severely restricted. Gary Beck reporting.
A former top religious leader from Syria's Assad era was sentenced to life in prison in Damascus during a major accountability trial.
The court convicted the former Grand Mufti in proceedings involving officials tied to the ousted government. The ruling marked another step in efforts to prosecute figures associated with years of repression. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Iran also blacklisted dozens of oil tankers, threatening fines, detention, and other penalties for vessels accused of violating its transit rules.
The announcement covered 45 tankers linked to disputed crossings through the Strait of Hormuz. Shipping traffic through the crucial waterway has fallen sharply, increasing concern about oil supplies and regional tensions. Benjamin Wright reporting.
President Trump threatened to raise tariffs to 50% on Canadian cars, trucks, auto parts, and steel, escalating the trade dispute.
The higher duties would take effect January 1st, under the president's announcement. The move followed collapsing trade talks and could deepen tensions with one of America's largest trading partners. Jessica Oakley reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Oh, yes, we are. So there you go. Let's start talking right away about some things that happened back on this date. In 1907, Houdini escapes from the chains underwater at an aquatic park in 57 seconds. In 1937, pumping to build Treasure Island in San Francisco Bay is finished. Let's see, what else do we got going on? In 1964, LBJ is nominated as the Democratic Convention in Atlantic City. And that's are the things that happened back on the days that I referenced. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Chris Burke turns 61. Adrian Young turns 57. And Melissa McCarthy turns 56. By the way, I know a real estate agent that has that exact same name. It always confuses me when she emails me, but we'll leave that for a different conversation. Also, Macaulay Culkin turns 46 today. Chris Pine turns 46 as well. And Keke Palmer turns 33 today. So there are some birthdays going on for you today, if you're so inclined to know some of those. Let's talk about some things that you want to know. Take a listen to this. Apple may be getting ready to give the iPhone fans something that they definitely didn't ask for: higher prices. Reports say that Apple is considering raising the prices for the upcoming iPhone 18 lineup, possibly by $100, putting the base model iPhone 18 Pro near $1,199. The company has already bumped up prices in several Macs and iPads, blaming the rising component costs, and Samsung and Google have recently raised their prices too. Apple may try to make the sticker shock hurt less by pushing a monthly upgrade program, because apparently the new way to afford a phone is to finance it until the sun burns out, is what it sounds like. So there you go. By the way, they did announce a new Mac Mini yesterday and a new Mac Studio, which was kind of out of the norm because nobody was expecting it. It was announced, and the interesting part was that the prices did go up, but the systems do some crazy shit now. But we can leave that for another conversation, of course. Anyways, tonight's Powerball jackpot is $96 million. If you're interested in playing, there you go. Also, here's last night's winning Mega Million numbers. Jackpot was $130 million. The numbers were 7, 10, 47, 48, 50. The Mega Ball was 14. So there you go. Let's talk about some things going on. Pennsylvania has recorded the first measles death in 35 years after 2 unvaccinated Lancaster County residents died amid the state's rapidly growing outbreak. Health officials have confirmed 393 cases so far in 2026 across dozens of counties. With outbreaks continuing to spread, the deaths are also the first measles fatality reported in the U.S. this year. State officials say that the tragedy is a reminder that disease and many Americans barely remember can still be deadly. And the measles is not just some old timely illness from the history books either. So some things to think about as we are talking. Let's talk about this one real quick. Canada is hitting back with escalating trade fight with the U.S. slapping retaliatory tariffs on roughly about $20 billion worth of American goods. The new duties target everything from steel and dairy to appliances, farm equipment, seafood, cheese, clothing, cosmetic, and yes, even toilet paper, because apparently trade wars eventually come for the bathroom. The tariffs take effect on September the 8th, with rates ranging from 15 to 50% on more than 700 products. Canada is matching corresponding to U.S. tariff rates and in some cases doubling the existing duties. So there you go. So that's going to sum it up for us at the top of the hour. I will be going over to RadioBig.fm for the next couple hours or so, talking about the world of music and entertainment. If you want to go over there, hang out with me for the next couple hours. If you don't want to go over there, that's perfectly fine. You can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus, as he will be talking about the world of safety consulting. I definitely get either way that you want to go, so that makes sense to me. Let me give you some words of wisdom for today. Giving is the highest level of living. Keep that in mind. And if you need some advice for today, here's this. Don't make big decisions when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or exhausted. Definitely will take a kind of a weird looksy-ooksy for you if you definitely do that. So there you go. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.